It's a brand new week, and comics are getting cheaper every day, and we're here to report on it, so stay tuned. Welcome back, Gainers, to another incredible, exciting, fantastic episode of ComicGains! And if you're new to the show, I'm Adam.
I'm Zach, and this is Princess Heroa Heiss, looking very lovely today, just like usual, doing that princess wave. So you do it too, and bow and respect, and there's a cocoa dog.
There she is. All right, guys. It is Monday again, and we missed last Monday because we had a con going on, but we're back. We got more games on the drop for you. We like to try to report on this every week because every week new comics are dropping in price, and some of them might be a good idea to pick up. You know what also is a good idea to pick up?
You gotta stay hydrated, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta pick up drinks. I got myself a Gator Light Zero. It's supposed to hydrate you, and you won't gain much weight because it's only 10 calories.
It's like a mixture between like the baby drink and Gatorade.
Yeah, I'm babying
What's
it.
that?
This is lemon lime.
I love lemon lime.
Let's see if
That's my favorite Gatorade. You guys put your favorite Gatorade flavor down in the comments. I'd be interested to see what your guys' favorite are.
It's actually not that bad. It's not bad at all.
Everybody likes that blue one. Princess is drinking a coffee too, I guess.
I love
drink day.
Yeah, the blue drink is pretty delicious.
The blue one?
The blue one with the sugar, a little bit of sugar in it.
Just a wee bit of sugar.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. If you are new to the ComicGains drop list, what we do is we scour the internet for hot lists, trending lists, speculation lists, any kind of list that has to do with comics, sometimes not with comics. And we try to figure out which one of those books has significantly taken a drop 1 year later, and we report on that. So you guys can kind of make an educated decision on whether or not you should be picking these books up because they're cheap, or you should be forgetting about it because it was a bad spec to begin with. And there's actually quite a few books that we pick up off our own drop list, and some of our friends actually tell us that they pick up books off the drop list. And it's interesting, we kind of remember things that everyone was talking about a year ago. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into those games, as we like to call it. And let's start it off with our good old buddy, SpiderMan. We got Spectacular SpiderMan 116 from 1986. You got Peter David and Rich Buckler goodness on this book here. And back in March last year, Deadline reported that Christopher Abbott was cast as the Foreigner in the Kraven movie. And if you're wondering who Christopher Abbott is, because I was kind of wondering that, he's in a movie called On the Count of Three, which seemed like had a pretty high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So maybe check that one out. I might have to do that after the show. And what it is in this book is it's the first full appearance of the Foreigner, who is Silver Sable's ex-husband, a mercenary. And I'm not sure how that's going to play out with the Kraven movie. Silver Sable has some stuff to do with Kraven, sometimes not stuff to do, plus it's Kraven's actual movie. But I don't know. I'm not really sure how it's going to work out, which is probably why a year later this book kind of came back on the drop. Could be a good idea to pick it up. I think overall it's a really cool cover. It's black suit Spidey fighting Sabretooth. Like, how often do you get to see that?
Not very often.
Not very often. So, but Zach will get you more information on this spectacular goodness.
Prices a year ago for a CGC 9.8 was $405. Now, last sold, $330. It has ranged as low as $150 to $405.
Ooh.
Average sales $237. If you can get more like the $200 range, I would say this is a pretty decent book to get. Right now, it's a little bit high. I don't know why it suddenly jumped up. There was some revised interest, I'm assuming. But yeah, it's a great cover. I think it will have long-lasting longevity. It's a black suit Spider-Man. Like I said, everybody needs to collect all of them. If you're a Spider-Man fan and you want the black... If you get the first appearance of Venom or ASM 252, you pretty much have to get all of the rest of the black suit Spider-Mans.
You have to. They make you do it. And they hold you down and make you do it.
They hold you down.
Cool book, though. I can't believe that's a good price. It's expensive for a spectacular book. Cool book.
Very expensive.
Cool book for sure. All right, next book on the list, and this is the only one we don't have this week. Surprising. I thought Princess would have had this one, but she says she does not. She's looking for it, maybe. We got Captain Carter, issue number 1, but this is the 1-in-25 ratio. Came out last year, March of 2022. This is the Marika Cresta What If cover edition. So she's specifically drawn to look like Captain Carter in the What If TV show that came out on Disney+. And this is kind of like a strange book because this only happens every once in a while where a character actually shows up in a TV show or a movie first and then is showcased in a comic book after. And we've had this happen a few times, even like technically like this happened to Harley Quinn at a certain point, so she's probably the biggest star. But Captain Carter might be like one of the next biggest ones for this to happen to. And this is kind of like, this is obviously first appearance of that version of Captain Carter. They did have that one from like the Exiles book, but this is the real one that's connected to the movie. It's like the same actual character. And we had that spec from the What If TV show originally, and then we actually got to see her live action in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which is pretty cool. This is actually a book that the regular cover A, I passed on when it came out, because I was like, this is a little, money grab-ish, like they're just putting out a book to go along with the character that we get on screen. Princess was a little bit smarter. She picked up the cover, and then the cover A actually went up to like a $15, $20 book for a while. And a lot of people suggested going with the 1 in 25 as an investment level book. It's hard to say. It's kind of iffy. Zach may give you a better idea how he feels about investment level on this, but there is an upcoming project possibly of a live action Captain Carter with Peggy Carter, obviously, as the character. And you can never count out Haley Atwell, as some of our friends will tell you. Zach, how do you feel about this 1 in 25? Investment level.
So, in the CGC 9.8, price-wise, is $350 a year ago. Now, $197. Range $150 to $560. So that's pretty high.
That's really high.
Average sales $297. This is definitely a roller coaster book. So it's going to have its heights where you want to sell it, and the lows when you want to buy it. You can probably make some clean money out of this book. So I would keep an eye out for it to buy it at a good price. But as a long-term investment, I don't think so. Unless you really like this book. Buy it on the low, keep it. But if you don't like this book, buy it, flip it, rinse and repeat. Get a Hulk 181 out of it, and you'll be much happier, and you'll have a great investment. And that's what I think about this. What I mean as a roller coaster book is that it's going to have high interest at certain phases of every couple of years, revised interest, but it's not going to be a grail book. But revised interest as like spikes up high and then drops probably a year after, and then spikes up high like a roller coaster, and then the drop.
Cool cover though. Cool cover. I like the cover a lot. It's probably my favorite out of the bunch. All right, let's get into the very confusing, ever too many character that is the SpiderVerse, and we have SpiderVerse issue number 2, and it's kind of confusing because there's a lot of books that are SpiderVerse issue number 2, but this is the one from 2015, and this is the Giuseppe Cumincoli and Dan Slott, which Cumincoli does some great artwork. I only kind of knew him from Star Wars, and I kind of got a little more into the SpiderVerse reading, and his artwork is superb, very, very good. But this book obviously got hot last year when you got a lot of spec going on about Across the Spider-Verse, going to be the second Miles Morales movie. And, everyone's like, hey, Spider-Punk's pretty much for sure going to be, I think they already casted the actor that's going to be voicing him. There's already toys connected to him. So they're like, okay, start snatching up all those Spider-Punk keys. And this is actually his first cover appearance. So if you can see him on the cover, he's actually on the cover jumping down. It's pretty cool. And it's also, this is the issue where you find out that he's Hobie Brown. So he actually has his first appearance, but they never reveal his identity. His identity actually gets revealed in this one. And this is only a 2-part miniseries, so it's connected to the whole original Spider-Verse thing that happens. And there's book 1 and book 2. They're actually a collection of multiple stories. So it's not really my favorite way to read things. So both issue 1 and issue 2 are like 4 different stories about 4 different spider characters from different multiverses that are not necessarily all connected to the 616. So take that as you may, but it is connected all to the kind of Spider-Verse thing. So it's kind of a strange book, and Zach will kind of touch on this a little bit more. It's kind of all over the place in pricing. Sometimes it sells really, really, really high. Sometimes it sells for very little amount. And it kind of gets in that whole confusing thing of that Spider-Verse 6 one that came out like not much after this that is very, very expensive. And I think a lot of people buying up books kind of surrounding that because of that reason.
Right.
And you never know with a book like this. That's probably why it's a little bit down on the drop right now. And Zach will give you those details.
So price a year ago for a CGC 9.8 was $61. Now it's $40. Range is the crazy part. Low is $40. Last sale. High, $525. Average sale, $164. If you can get it for $40 or maybe just a little bit above, I think this is a great book. Because unlike the last book, which is going to be a roller coaster ride, This one will be a little bit, but think about how often they're going to be making these types of movies. The Spider-Verse is going to be its own franchise, along with the MCU. So they're going to be a very long-lasting longevity for this book. Eventually, people will want to get the whole sets, ready to run second volume, anything that's keys. And this is a key. It's not a crazy key, but it's a key, and I think this could be worth a fair amount of money. So if you can get like a couple, 3, 4, 5 at this price, I think you're going to do pretty well.
They're pretty cheap raw, too. I mean, you can a lot of times find for under $10. So, I mean, 40 is not crazy, but like the sale before that was literally like $500 before the $40 sale. So take that as it may. Not everybody knows about those Spider-Verse, those two Spider-Verse books.
I didn't.
They're interesting.
So keep an eye out.
All right, next up, what you should also be keeping an eye out for is Batman 609.
I talked about this book.
From 2003, and this is Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb. I don't think you could have a better combo to work on a Batman book ever. And this is just a cool book. Zach knows a lot more about this than I do, but it's first appearance of Thomas Elliot. And spoiler, he's later revealed to be Hush. So, pretty cool, pretty interesting. I can tell you from when I'm digging for Batman books every once in a while, those are my go-to. When I'm digging through, I'll go straight to 600 and kind of look through all the books. There's a lot of Hush keys. I think this is one of the best ones, right?
One of the best ones, yeah, absolutely.
Of the series. Plus, you got Poison Ivy on the cover, which is cool. But March of last year, we had a really cool movie come out called The Batman with our good friend Robert Pattinson, who I think did an awesome job. It was a great detective version of a Batman movie. But this little website came out called Ratalade.com, which I believe translates to winged rat, which could be a bat, I suppose you could say. But that's where there is a special puzzle that took place on this website, which led you to the word Hush, which was connected to the first Batman movie, which is why everyone's speculating that the next movie will contain Hush in some form, either as the main villain, or maybe they'll start him out as a character and lead him into the next one. I have no idea. And that's probably why a year later after that movie, it's kind of taken a little bit of a drop. And, everyone knows they're going to make another Batman movie for sure because it was so successful. But with the way DC's jumping things around, it may be pushed back a little bit longer. So it might be a good idea to get those Hush keys. Zach will give you more info on it, though.
So prices a year ago for CGC 9.8, unsigned. Mine's a signed copy. It's $280. I have to. Now, $150. Range, $48 to a high of $520. Must have been a newsstand. Average sale is $185. This is a great book. So a little backstory on it, root some stuff down. Hush, a.k.a. Thomas Elliot, is a supervillain who was also a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne. Tried to murder his own parents for the fortune that they had, but Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, was able to save the mother and thwart his plans. So, he got a little bit of a grudge against the Waynes now. Yeah? Where's my money, Bruce? Where's my money?
Where's my money?
Thomas Elliot, he becomes a somewhat successful surgeon, plastic surgery or surgeon in general, and he finds out that Bruce Wayne's Batman gets jealous of Bruce Wayne, teams up with the Riddler to try to ruin Bruce's life. So it kind of leads up to the movie a little bit, where the first one, it's Riddler, and then they kind of like, hey, Hush is coming. Because Hush finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, teams up with the Riddler, so they already brought the Riddler in. So it kind of naturally, with the story, kind of brings it into fruition. And a lot of people don't know about the Hush story, surprisingly. So it kind of very interesting. So Hush, in general, is a mastermind. He's super smart. He, obviously, I said he's a surgeon, so he can actually, I don't know how he does it, but he alters his features. He can make himself look like anybody, pretty much. And he's good with hand-to-hand combat. And there's a couple other things I don't remember. But he's a great character. Doesn't have any superpowers, but a great character.
Hopefully he has time to heal after he's carving up his face.
Yeah, a little bit of waiting.
A couple weeks in between. All right. Now, this is a book we haven't talked about in a while. It's Ultimate Fallout. But not number 4. It's number 3 has made it to the drop list this week. And number 3, from 2011, right before the famous Ultimate Fallout 4. This is Adam Kubert and Jonathan Hickman, who Jonathan Hickman's coming back out with a new Ultimate series, which I'm pumped for. I love the Ultimate Universe. It is fantastic. And this book is somewhat famous because there's a teaser for Ultimate Fallout 4 on the last page. You can see Miles chest, and he's like holding the mask in his hands, but there's no face. They don't show Miles' face, so you're not really sure. At this point, Peter's dead, so obviously someone's taking up the new mantle. And I don't know, last year it all of a sudden got hot, like around March, or jumping hot. I don't know if people didn't realize that teaser was in there or why all of a sudden this book was getting hotter, but it started getting some love. Things started getting a little bit more expensive. I think other than 4, this is the next most expensive Ultimate Fallout book, but it's a cool cover. For sure, you got basically Kitty Pryde, and then you got Iceman and Human Torch, which, if you read the Ultimate Universe, Iceman and Human Torch were Peter Parker's roommates. They lived with him and his family, and Kitty Pryde was his ex-girlfriend. And after the fallout, when like the Ultimates and the Avengers fight, and they kind of like get tricked into fighting each other and kind of destroying each other, and the X-Men get destroyed, then Kitty takes them to the other island or whatever, takes to their guys, the mutants that are left. Good story. I don't know. We'll see. And people kind of like, with all the Ultimate Fallout's down, so I'd imagine Ultimate Fallout 4 is down, so I'd imagine Ultimate Fallout 3 would go down, but Zach will give you some more information. I think overall, it's still a great cover. It's a great book. I don't know if it's a huge investment story, but I feel like if you're into the Ultimate Universe, you got to have all of them. Yeah. Right?
So price a year ago for CGC 9.8 was $249. Now it's $113. Range $50 to $250. Average sale is $171. Just like the SpiderVerse 2, this is going to have a little bit of ups and downs, but it's overall, long term, it's going to be constantly going up. It's a great investment. Anything related to Edge of the Spider-Verse or Miles Morales should have legs for days. Giant legs. Huge.
Yeah, you never know. Like, I mean, it's hard to say this far out, but like if it's like 20 years later and Ultimate Fallout 4 has completely priced itself out, we never know how the market's going to go. If it's like a crazy expensive, people will start looking at those cameos as like the next best option. Hasn't come to that point yet, but it was close a couple years ago,
Yeah.
It was close.
It was a girl. Still is a girl.
All right, guys. If you like hearing these drop lists as much as we like delivering them, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button, the like button, hit those notification bells so you always know when we're going live on Wednesday, because sometimes we change the time up, and we'd like to go live other times, and we want you guys to be there. And leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this week's drop list. If you had any of those books, or you were speculating on them, or you think it's a good idea to pick them up, let us know, because we would like to know too. And Zach, what's your overall pick of the week? I know this is a little bit a tough one. What's your pick?
That's a great
number one.
Price wise, the SpiderVerse 2, $40 for CGC 9.8. That's the deal of the week. That's the deal of the week. I would say, kind of personally, what I would try to get would be Ultimate Fallout 3 or Batman 609. I would almost say Ultimate Fallout 3 because, one, it's Marvel, and $113 for a 9.8. Probably not a bad price. Though at the same time, the Hush thing could be taken out, especially if James Gunn starts messing around with it. But, who knows what will happen. But I'd say UFO 3.
There you go. All right, Zach. Any last words?
Well, you gotta share. How you do that is you have to share food. So what you need to do, preferably if your name's Pete, like Pete Davidson, you go around, try to look up different recipes in Italy, Little Italy, or any Italy kind of place. Ask some advice, look on some websites for great Italian food dishes, right? And you decide to go on for pasta. So you make the best pasta in the world. Everybody knows it. So they, of course, call you Pasta Pete. And you might be a superhero, Pasta Pete.
Pasta sounds good right now.
It's like, his superpower, I bring you pasta to fill up your bellies.
You get some linguine.
Linguine.
The favorite of all the pastas. Alright guys, until we see you next time, stay safe and remember.
Get those meatball again.
Get 'em.
And pasta.